The Strange Medical School. This happened in India, recounted by a doctor recalling his student days. It was the first day of classes, and the student was heading to the university. Everything seemed normal, with a tranquil and pleasant environment filled with green areas that made the atmosphere more welcoming. However, upon arriving at the medical school, he noticed that it was more isolated from the other faculties and significantly larger. Over time, he would discover that it was one of the oldest buildings, with a rich history of illustrious doctors who had founded it, and who, despite the years, remained highly respected. Because his admission was delayed, he had started the course out of sync and needed to catch up with his classmates, which meant attending classes with students from different semesters. That day, his classes extended into the evening, and around 5 o'clock, he realized that his last class would be Introduction to Human Anatomy. This class was held in a large basement where students conducted anatomical studies through necropsies. As the last rays of the sun faded, the student headed to the classroom, seeing other classmates having a snack before the class. He wasn't hungry, so he hurried to the basement. Upon entering, he saw 2 girls studying comfortably. When they saw him, they quickly checked their watches, nervously gathered their things, and left, laughing strangely, without giving him time to ask if he was in the right place. He sat down and began to review his notes from the day. Suddenly, he heard a radio turn on in the next room and thought it was disrespectful. He also heard the sound of metal tools. He assumed it was the advanced students working. About 10 minutes passed, and he heard nervous, mocking laughter outside the classroom. One of his classmates peeked in, jumped back, and said, "You scared me." Then the others entered and informed him that the professor had a meeting and the class would be rescheduled. Still not understanding their strange behavior, he packed up to leave. At the door, his classmates asked if he wasn't scared. Confused, he asked what they meant. Then, they clarified his deepest questions. On the first day of classes, during the initial introduction, the professors had told a story about the practical anatomy classroom. It turns out that one of the founding doctors used to teach late into the night in that very room. One day, already advanced in age, the doctor was found dead in the classroom due to a heart attack. It was a terrible loss, as he was one of the best and most respected in the medical community. This doctor had the peculiarity of playing music while teaching and using the tools in a certain way. It was said that after his death, his spirit never left the place. Always at dusk, music and the sound of tools could be heard, as if someone were preparing a class. As he left, the student noticed that the other adjacent classrooms were closed and that there was no longer any noise or music. He felt a mix of awe and admiration for how someone could continue doing what they loved, even after death. Upon exiting through the side door of the faculty, he clearly saw memorials to the founders, similar to those found in cemeteries. He recognized the doctor described to him. It was an interesting and amazing experience, learning the history of this faculty and its founders, a story that remains fascinating for those just beginning their medical careers in this place.